Hi everyone, I am Jerselle and welcome to the Facebook Live of Werk.PH. Werk.PH is an online job portal, but it is more than just a job portal, and that's what we're gonna learn as we go on this FB Live. So before anything else, I am very thrilled to introduce to you, here with me is an HR practitioner, a writer, and doing advocacy on education, success, and life coaching. Miss Penny Bongato. Hi, Miss Penny.
Hi, George. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Miss Penny?
Excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be here and to be interviewed by you.
That's an honor and a privilege for us, Miss Penny. So, if you're gonna ask why we're having this kind of Facebook Live, we are receiving a lot of messages and comments here on our Facebook about how can they find a job. Second, what are the tips that you can share, that we can share to them in landing their dream job, or just any tips for job applications. So, and you are the perfect person to share your insights and tips about it. So what are your thoughts on those topics?
You know, that's very interesting and very exciting for me to be talking about this topic. I've been in the BPO space for a long period of time, for 2 decades. And for some of you, you may not know it, but I was employee number 1 of the biggest contact center in the Philippines, Convergys. So, employee number 1 ako. Ako unang-unang na-hire sa buong bansa natin. And it pains me na nahihirapan kami mag-hire. And I think kahit ngayon, even in the BPO, especially in the BPO industry, out of 100 applicants, only 7 to 10% make it. So, ang dami-dami nag-a-apply.
7%?
Oo, ang dami-dami nag-a-apply. Pero konti lang ang natatanggap. And the question is, most of those who are applying are fresh grads and gumraduate naman ng college. Bakit hindi na-hire?
Yes, so what are the common reason or factor? Bakit maliit po yun 7%? So bakit kaya?
Based on our experience in the industry, and I'm sure on the other industries kasi rin ako, PMAP member din ako. Dati din ako doon sa PMAP Industry Academy Committee. What we have seen as where candidates, especially fresh grads, fail is number 1, communication skills, com skills, number 2, critical thinking, and number 3, initiative. So, importante na meron tayo yung mga graduates natin meron nun para they get to be hired. Hindi lang academics. Kasi yung academics, sometimes rote memory yun eh. Mamini-memorize mo lang eh. Pero kung meron kang communication skills, critical thinking, initiative, attention to details, your chances of getting hired is much higher.
So that goes beyond the usual skills that we learn at school. Okay, so na-mention niyo po yung communication skills, so that could possibly be written or verbal, diba?
Yes.
For the written, the usual first step kasi for fresh graduates is the resume, creating resume. So, do you have any tips on how they can build their resume? Or first muna, how can they apply for jobs?
There are various ways of applying now. And one of the most used by companies as way of applying or application is really online. And you see that, diba?
Yes,
the Facebook
digital
ads,
na tayo ngayon.
Digital na. And millennials, the graduates of today, would rather stay on their phones than walk across the street or give an application form. And it's not even advisable na kasi traffic, the snail mails, and all those. No? So, online application. So, it could be Facebook, depends on what the company says, whether it's Facebook application or their website portals or just job portals. So, iba-ibang paraan na, and most of the time, it's online.
Online. I remember, Miss Penny, kinukwento ng mother ko, hi mommy for watching, na nag-a-apply sila ng jobs, kailangan pa nilang hanapin sa dyaryo, sa newspaper, and then mag-walk in. Pero right now, you can do it in just seconds. You can apply online,
That's
right?
true. That's true. I remember, nag-uusap tayo kanina eh. Sabi ko nga noon sa anak ko, a couple of years back, Sabi ko sa kanya, bakit hindi ka nag-a-apply? Lumabas ka dyan, mag-apply ka na. Ang sagot sa akin, ma, hindi na ngayon, walk-in, online na.
Online application na.
Nag-a-apply na ako. Ganun ba yun? Okay. And before, we used to have classified ads, sabi mo
Yes.
and one full page classified ad of the leading Sunday newspaper would cost 300,000 pesos. Full page colored ad.
That's a lot.
Ngayon, libre na.
Yes.
Online.
And isang job, lang yun, di ba? Isang job opportunity. But right now, talaga, based on your skills, based on the location. Pero, yung mga tinatanong po sa amin, ano ba talaga yung job start? Parang, is it creating a resume? Is it researching for a company? So, ano ba yung talagang jump start on how they could apply online?
So, first of all, what you need to know is what you want. Siyempre, kung fresh graduate ka, ano ba ang trabaho hahanapin ko? Yun ang tanong. Ang tatanong ko rin sa kanya, kung tinatanong sa akin yun, ang tanong ko, ano ba talaga ang gusto mo? So, do you know what you want? And if you know what you want, then
Mas madali.
take that journey to go where you want to go. The question is, paano ba natin gagawin yan? And as we said, resume. And they always say, send your resume to whatever website or put your resume in the portal. So creating the resume is important. One thing that we always say is make your resume stand out.
Hi again, everyone. Here with me is Miss Penny Bongato still. Naka tayo sa question na, as Miss Penny was saying, tinitignan lang yung resume ng recruiter for only 7 seconds, right, Miss Penny?
Yes.
So, ganun siya kabilis. So, what are the things na pwede nating gawin for our resume to stand out?
Okay, sabi nga natin, the first page of your resume is very important. So, what should your resume contain? First, your name. Second, your address. Importante yung address ha, kasi kung ang trabaho ay sa Commonwealth and you live in Alabang. So, chances are you won't travel from Alabang to Commonwealth. Third is your phone number, your cell phone number, that you have always. Kasi ang mga iba, papalit-palit ng cellphone number. Dahil may promo sa ganito, may promo sa ganyan, so switch sila. Tapos, ang sinasabi pa ng iba, we cannot contact you kasi walang load or something. Make sure that you always have load so you can reply. Fourth is your email address.
O email address. Yes. So, another example that we got, Miss Penny, magpapakita lang kami. You can see it on the comment section. Na yung, alam naman natin, no, elementary or high school days natin, may mga personal emails tayo na hindi talaga professional. So, makikita niyo yung sample dyan sa comment section na ilalagay natin maya-maya. So, hindi syempre, makikita niyo kung gaano ka hindi professional yon. Guilty rin ako dyan, don't worry. Sa mga dating professional natin. So, dapat, as per Miss Penny, dapat we have professional email address. So, ano po yung paano masasabing professional email address na siya?
Your professional email address, your name. Be proud of your name. Like, my email address is penny@pennybongato.com. If you ask me what is that, I have my own domain because it's my business. And it's Gmail. I have pennybongato@gmail.com. So your name, and whatever domain, whatever Gmail or Yahoo or whatever, as long as it's professional. And the more professional it is, actually your name is professional. That can be it.
And it also creates good right impression, di ba?
Exactly.
You are professional, email address, your mobile number is always available. But for fresh graduate, Miss Penny, kasi they don't have professional experience yet. So, ano yung pwede nilang i-highlight sa first page ng resume nila?
Maganda nga yung question mo Cheers. Kasi ang fresh grads, wala pang experience. One thing you can put, definitely you have to put is, kung sa school ka na-graduate, kung anong course kinuha mo.
Course. Important.
Important. Tapos yung sinasabi natin kanina, yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina, OJT, saan ka nag-practicum? Ano yung practicum experience mo? Because that in itself is work experience. Kahit nasabihin mong OJT lang yun, work experience pa din yun. on-the-job training. And if you had 600 hours of OJT, halos 4 na buwan yun.
Yeah, significant hours.
Significant hours. And what did you do during your on-the-job training, during your OJT? The other thing is, of course, as I mentioned, your course, your school. Another one is your thesis. Anong ginawa mo sa thesis mo?
Yes.
And what is your participation in the development of your thesis? Hindi yung we, ha? Yung mamaya pag-usapan natin yun. Yung I contributed to this. I was able to do this. And the other one is your extracurricular activities that's related to your course. For example, I took up engineering. So, layo, no? So, I took up chemical and industrial management engineering. And I moved to human resource. And if I am a member of Glee Club, wala namang connection sa engineering. Parang wala. But if I said I was president of the Chemical Engineering Society, or I was a member of the IME Society, then it has a bearing on
significant experience. So for those who just joined us, we're just talking about, for the fresh graduate, what are the things to highlight on the first page of their resume? So your contact details, if you have OJT experience, and your thesis, it's an important tool for you to leverage your application. Miss Penny, we have a question now, no, for our topic. So kasi fresh graduates. So how about for those who have experience pero medyo madami na siyang experiences? Should they include all the experiences even though parang aabot na siya ng 3 to 4 pages?
Highlight the most important one on the first page. So if you were isipin mo na lang kung ikaw ang recruiter and you only have 7 seconds, what would you like to say about yourself? And highlight them on the first page. The others, if it will take you 3 to 4 pages, put it in. But yung pinaka-highlight, lagay mo
on the first page pa lang.
Yes. So your front page might be your profile, might be all your learnings in your 5-10 years of work experience, as long as you highlight it on your first page. I've had many years of experience, so if you tell me to put my resume, every detail, 20 pages.
Umabot na 20 pages.
20 pages yun. Kasi dami ko na nga ginawa. Now, the other tip for those with work experience, do not put the tasks. Do not put the task. I did reports. Ay, trabaho mo yun eh. What is your achievement? You did the reports, and what happened with the reports that led to? So, my job entailed me to do reports which led to the improvement of productivity in my company. Something like that. So really achievements that you have in the organization.
Okay. Also, of course, they have a complete resume, they have a filled out resume, but for them, jumpstart talaga eh. So after you want to apply, as you've said, online na tayo ngayon. So how do they start applying? So is it will start ba sa job portal, or kailangan interest ko muna and then careers?
Okay. Isipin mo muna kung mag-apply ka ng trabaho, anong gusto mong trabaho? So it starts with you. It starts really with you. And for many, unfortunately for us, many of us, including myself, I took a course that my parents told me to take. Tapos tatanong mo sa sarili mo, ito ba talaga ang gusto mo? If you decide to pursue that, then go for it. Now, if it's not, then you think about what can you do. Now, if you decide to go for a job, make sure that you are prepared to do your research.
So research talaga.
Research
first.
Number one tip, research. What do you research on? Research on the job. Ano ba yung available na job na gusto mong applyan? Ano ba yung job description nito? Ano ba ang qualifications na hinahanap nila. Meron ka ba nun? Second, yung kumpanya. Research on the company. Make sure that you know the company, you know the vision, mission, values of the company, kung saan located ang company.
Important.
Important yun. For example, BPO siya. Marami siyang sites. Alamin mo kung aling site. Kung nakatira ka sa Commonwealth, ang site ay nasa Alabang. So, sigurado ka bang gusto mo doon? So, research on the company. And if at all possible, and natawagan ka na for interview, research on the person who will be interviewing you. Pero mamaya na yun, kasi sa interview process yun. Just make sure that you customize, ito importante to, George, ha? Make sure that you customize your resume based on the opening of that company and based on what is important for that company.
So, talagang recommended na personalize, customize yung resume based on your research. So, that boils down again, read, research, and that shows your interest, right?
Yes.
So, parang if you're really interested in the company, you will search first. Google mo lang kung ano yung location, ano yung culture ba nila, yung mga employees. Maybe through LinkedIn, they can search their company page, right? Yes, Miss Penny, we have one question. Balik lang tayo sa resume or CV. How many pages daw is the recommended page?
How many pages? Basta ang sinasabi ko, walang recommendation on
The number of
pages. Kasi like me, the more experience you have, the longer. And we'll have to drill it down. Kasi hindi na yung what you've done 10 years ago may not be relevant to what you're doing now. It's the competencies that you're bringing forward. Remember the skills. I were a boiler controller before. Sabihin niyo, ano yung boiler? Wala nang ganun ngayon. Everything is digital. So, nag-iba na yun. So, you don't need to put that anymore. But the competency, like, if you were, for example, if you were an athlete in college, what does that show? That shows that you have discipline, that shows that you have the ability to pursue. Diba? Kasi practice yan araw-araw eh. So, yung mga importanteng highlights ng experience mo, yun lang ang lagay mo. And again, I would have to say this again. Put it on the first page.
First page talaga.
First page
7 seconds, guys. Remember. So, we have the resume. Nakapag-research na tayo. What company, the location of the company, the culture. And then, syempre, nandun na tayo, di ba? So, good. Some of the students are asking, or graduates are asking, is it okay to have a walk-in? For you to walk in a company that you want? Or, mas advisable talaga na online?
Marami lang nagtatanong sa akin yan eh. Many of the companies now say the preferred way of applying for the candidates to apply. If they say apply online, apply online. And I've seen, because I've gone to many companies, I've seen that in some companies, if there are walk-in, sabihin sa'yo ng guard, mag-a-apply ka, meron pong box dito, ihulog nyo na lang yung resume.
Ginawa ko po yan dati. Nag-drop ako ng resume sa box.
Meron ganyan. No? Pero may mga companies, like some BPO companies who are really in need of many agents, they will entertain walk-in. Kaya lang kung nag-walk-in ka na, nag-apply ka pa online, tapos na-report ka pa ng kaibigan mo, na magtatrabaho mo, paulit-ulit na. So, make sure that you're consistent.
Right. So, another question that we got on our Facebook, can I apply for a role that is different from my current job?
Yes, you can. Nothing stops you from applying for any role. However, you have to know what the competencies are, what the requirements are for that particular role. Kasi ang tatanong sa'yo, wala ka pang experience dito, yet you're applying.
Yes.
Why? And you have to justify that. And if you have sufficient justification, like I'm willing to learn, and you can prove that you're willing to learn, and that you can be able to, you have what it takes to do the new role, then go for it. Nothing stops you from switching or shifting careers.
So, pwedeng they have taken online course beforehand that is related to the new role. So, that
Yes.
could be part,
Yes.
right? So, okay na yun. Nag-walk-in na sila. They have the complete resume, but they got the interview invite.
Okay.
So, the most common question is, how do I dress up for a job interview?
Okay. So, as we said earlier, research is so important. Research on the company and the culture of the company.
Research again.
And if you take a look at the company, and the company has a website or a company has Facebook, you'll see the pictures of the employees. You'll see the pictures of how the employees are dressed. So if it's an advertising agency, you don't go there in suit, in coat, no? Or in a gown, no? Wala naman nagagown. But if you're applying for a bank, don't go there in jeans. So know the culture of the company. Again, research. Dress appropriately. Now, if you're unsure, make sure that you are in business casual.
Okay. Business casual is the safest
safest.
attire. Okay. So also, when they land the job interview, syempre, normal lang yan. Nervyos talaga. Kahit naman sino yata pag unfamiliar place or new job role, new interview, kinakabahan talaga. So, how do they shake off the nervousness? Kasi, di ba, yun yung usually obvious talaga eh.
So, yung nervousness, you can shake that off by being prepared. Again, pagkatapos mo mag-research tungkol sa kumpanya, alamin mo yung mission values ng kumpanya, be on time, not on time, be early for the interview, even an hour early for the interview. However, yung being prepared is so important, George. Being prepared meaning, naligo ka, nag-toothbrush ka, nagsuklay ka, yung hygiene, importante yun. Tapos kung tumatakbo ka para sa interview mo dahil malilate ka na, bago mo harapin yung interviewer mo, mag-CR ka muna. Ayusin
Yung mga
mo muna,
little details.
Oo, little details. Ayusin mo muna yung face mo. Wipe your perspiration. Make sure that you're ready and smiling.
Yes.
And tell yourself, I can do this. Kaya ko to. Kaya ko to. Kaya ko to. Say up yourself.
Yes, parang one practice that we can have, no, we can look ourselves in the mirror and then think as if you're now being interviewed. Syempre, there are basic questions, job interview questions.
Yes.
So, practice lang. Parang kinakausap mo lang. Ito, I'm confident, I am ganyan, di ba? Pero at least, when you go there, hindi na yung parang shock na first time mo palang maririnig yun.
Meron na mga tips already online. YouTube, for example. YouTube mo yung behavioral interview questions and how you respond to behavioral interview questions. One of the things pala, I also teach in college. So I teach at De La Salle College of St. Benilde and I taught recruitment and selection. So, yun, pinakita ko yung what do you do in job interviews, how do you respond to job interview questions, and what are do's and don'ts in the job interview questions.
Okay. So also, Miss Penny, we got another question. So should I extend? Syempre, they landed the interview. But the common question, or minsan na awkward sila, lalo na yung mga fresh graduates, should I extend my hand first upon meeting the interview?
That's a good question. Kasi usually, let's say, I am the recruiter and you're being interviewed. Hi, George. I'm Penny. I'm your recruiter. I'm interviewing you today. And most applicants would say, "Good morning, ma'am." Ganun lang.
Medyo timid pa eh.
Very timid. Show your confidence. There's nothing that stops you from extending your hand. Hi, I'm Penny.
Yeah,
Hi,
maybe show na to.
And again, firm hand grip.
Firm handshake.
Firm handshake. Kasi merong iba, yung parang diring-diring ka sa kamay. Nako, ano ba yun?
Nahihiya pa.
O pawis-pawis pa yung kamay mo. Punasan mo yung pawis mo. So, make sure that you are confident and the way you speak shows confidence as well. Huwag ka mahihiya. Lagi kong sinasabi, dapat walang hiya ka. And remember, the only person who knows you the most is yourself.
Right.
So be confident.
So parang ano yan evaluating yourself din first, no, before going to an interview. Parang it shows your commitment.
Yes.
On how prepared are you in that interview. So another question, Miss Penny, that we got. Thanks for, guys, if you have questions, just comment it in the comment box section. So how to answer if you're being asked kung ano yung salary range? Yun yung the usual questions na po ngayon. So how do we answer that kind of question?
Napakahirap naman ang tanong kasi napakahirap na napakadali. In such a way that that's the most common question. Because what we've seen in Towers Watson studies is what are the attractions for, what are the reasons for people staying on the job, be engaged in the job, and people applying in the job is always base salary. So tinatanong, magkano ba ang sweldo dyan? Now, if you've done your research, you will have an idea what the salary is. You can see that in job portals, there are ranges. You can see that in other sites that there are, sometimes they post pa salary and pay slips of certain companies. So you can really see that already. You can ask. Nothing stops you from asking.
And that goes down again to research. Diba?
Again.
Maraming Google mo lang kung ano yung, for example, you know your experience and your skills. May mga nakalagay talaga sa Google ngayon for the salary range. So another question, do employers get turned off by loose handshake? Oh, nakita nila yung handshake natin kanina. So may mga nata-turn off pa sa ganun.
Ako personally, I get turned off. Kasi parang nabidiri pa siya sa kamay ko o gano'n, no? With volume recruitment, I don't think, maybe not, because if you interview what, 15 people a day, you won't even notice sino ang may loose handshake. But it's a training for you. It's a training for you to really get that confidence. Ikaw, as an applicant, to get that confidence. Hi, I am Penny. I'm glad to meet you, ma'am. And thank you for setting the time for giving me this opportunity to be interviewed by you. Yeah, but, diba, as a recruiter, how would you feel if I say that?
It's a good impression for me.
And yun nga. Sabi ko na kayo sa iyo kanina the first interview is like going on your first date.
Yes. Parang dapat totally prepared.
Totally prepared and totally excited.
Right. So we got a question. Thanks, guys, for those who are asking question. Can I disclose that I am unhappy about my issues in my current job? So meron siyang siguro past experience, unhappy na siya, but can he tell them?
I don't think personally, I don't think it's proper to say I am unhappy with my current job. You could probably say that I am looking for better opportunities.
Okay, that's safe answer.
That's a safe answer. That I have skills that I can further use in the position that we have opened. But ranting about I'm unhappy with my job, that's why I'm looking around. Ang iisipin ko as a recruiter, what happens if you're unhappy with your job here? Then you will look around again.
Yes.
So if the answer is I have skills that I want to use, then perhaps what are those skills? Maybe that deserves a follow-up question. Right. But ranting about your job, being unhappy, and ranting about your current employer being unhappy
doesn't create good impression at all.
If you can do that with them, you can do that with us.
Okay. So we got questions from Alice. So when asked about a skill, how do you say that you're not really good at something without sounding like you're not qualified?
What do you mean by that you are not good about something?
For example, if the recruiter asks you for a certain skill and you're not good at it, so how do you say without sounding like you're really unqualified for that role?
Now, don't pretend that you know if you don't know. Because once you land the job, it's not about the job, it's your reputation at stake.
Right.
So if you really don't know, don't pretend. So if you really don't know, if you're not qualified for that position, maybe it's best for you not to get that position. Now, however, if you think that you can still learn, that you can still be able to meet the qualifications in time, then tell them that you're willing to learn.
Yes.
Now, what we have said in the past, is our experiences in the past is a reflection of what we can do today and tomorrow. However, things have changed. What companies are looking for right now are employees who are willing to learn. The learning agility, because of changes in technology, changes in processes. If you are willing to adapt to change, if you are willing to learn again, if you are willing to unlearn what you've learned, upskill and reskill yourself, you have an advantage.
But don't pretend. Just be honest. Kasi it will show naman, di ba? If ever you landed that job that you pretended on some certain skills, it will show to your performance.
Yun nga yung sinasabi natin, getting promoted to your level of incompetence. Yes. Nakakatakot yun, no? Na-promote ka na mas mataas na posisyon, tapos hindi ka pala qualified. Medyo mahirap. So don't pretend.
Okay. So for the another question, of course, you're done with the interview and you want to know the job status of your application. So when can you have the follow-up message from the HR?
So you're undergoing the interview.
Yes.
So nagtanong siya nga, again, be prepared for the interview. There are very basic questions before the follow-up. The very basic questions of what are your strengths, what are your areas for improvement. Sometimes those are not being asked anymore. They ask behavioral event interviews, yes, such as, tell me about the time that you were assigned to a project, how did you handle it? And ang sabi nga natin kanina when we were discussing it, say the things that you personally have done. Don't say, we did this, we did that. For example, you led a project on a green belt project, Six Sigma green belt. I did this. I organized a team. I put the team charter together. What did you do? Not what we did.
Your achievements, or if you have projects,
yes,
that you want to highlight. So that's a good part.
That's a good part in the interview, no? Yung sa follow-up, when can I follow up? Mamaya na yun, pag ending na ng interview. Let's tackle that when we are at the end of the interview already.
Yes, or maybe they could ask that questions. Kasi di ba minsan the HR would ask, do you have any question?
Yes.
At the end. So that could be one of the questions.
Kasi at the end of the interview, ang question ng usually by the recruiters, I've already asked questions. Do you have any questions for me at this time? I was a recruiter. I asked the question, and most of the time the applicants would say no questions. So may tanong ka, itanong mo. Like,
so what are the questions?
How soon can I hear back from you? If I don't hear from you within 2 weeks, does that mean that I did not qualify? Or can I call you to find out the status of my application? So ask the questions you want to ask. Or before even follow up on my application. As a sign that you did the research, you could probably ask, I read from your website that your company values are integrity, respect, allowing mobility of employees. So, meron kayong site sa Alabang, pero gusto kong, in the future, kung ma-hire ako sa Alabang, meron pong possibility ma-move ako sa ibang location. So,
yeah, it shows that you really research on that company.
Yes. And it gives a good impression.
Yeah, your interest in that position.
Going back, yung questions mo at the end, make sure that you are able to ask all the questions, even yung follow-up question na, when can I hire? When can I know the status of my application? Itanong nila doon.
Okay. So that's a good tip, guys. So if you're really eager to have the follow-up question, so that could be one of the questions, and at least you can set the time frame or time range on when you can call back again. So another question, Miss Penny, that we got, can my personal status affect my job application? For example, she's a single mom. So will that affect her application?
It shouldn't, because we now have anti-discrimination. If you're a solo parent, it should not discriminate you. If you're LGBTQ, it should not discriminate you. And for most companies, especially big multinational companies, they have equal employment opportunities. So it should not discriminate you from applying. And nakalimutan natin ng tanong, lalagay mo ba ang picture mo sa resume?
Guys, anong answer po doon? Is that advisable? Kasi yung iba talagang nagpre-prepare pa nagpa-picture pa for that. So, is that advisable?
Ang sinasabi ng marami, and based on global standards, again, anti-discrimination, anti-bias, don't put your picture. Kahit na maganda ka, kahit na
you're really proud.
Oo, you can, nothing stops you. Maybe that will be an edge. But if you don't, it shouldn't stop you as well. If you're not beautiful, if you're not handsome, if you're not photogenic, don't put your picture. It's not required.
Yeah, bottom line is you're applying for a skill-based job, not beauty pageant. Pag beauty pageant, why not?
Tsaka yung artista,
kailangan. No? Pero for those who are applying na talagang basic skill, based on what Miss Penny was saying, talagang highlight your achievements, your skills, or if you have projects, that could be a good contribution or factor to your job application.
I think there is a phone-in question.
For question, many studies say that interviews are generally subjective, while assessments are objective and better in finding that almost perfect fit. What can you say about this?
I love this question.
So parang nag-aano siya if tinatanong niya if objective ba talaga nagbe-base sa assessment?
Ang interviews kasi, some interviews have a way of gauging, like targeted selection or the star model, or meron yan the way you rate applicants. So there is a certain way of saying whether this applicant is qualified for the job or not. However, as a recruiter, your skill sets also diminishes. So you have to refresh and refresh. Unlike assessments, wherein assessments are more direct, assessments like tests, diba? Parang assessment, online assessment. It is more analytical, and it is more accurate. And that's why we promote assessments. There's so many assessments out there in the market, and that's why we are looking at assessments as a way of getting us to where we want to be. Let me backtrack. Where do you want your career to be? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Where are you now? You're a student or a fresh grad. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? If this is where you see yourself 5 years from now, know what your competencies are as early as now. And how will you get to where you want to be? Chart that roadmap. And you can only chart that roadmap if you know exactly where you are. And that is where assessment, like work, comes in.
Yes. And for example, no, Miss Penny, parang common question lang is, hindi ko nga alam kung anong gusto ko eh. Parang, I don't know my strength. So parang that assessment could really help. And what's good about this is that it's available anywhere now. So, I mean, online, diba? You can search for assessment, and that could be a good way for you kung talagang, for example, kailangan mong i-highlight yung strength mo as an applicant. That could be a good evaluation for yourself.
Actually, yun sinasabi nga natin sa assessments. Kung maganda ang assessment mo, isama mo na siya sa resume mo.
Yes.
Kasi hindi na mahihirapan si recruiter to assess you on your competencies. Now, kung hindi maganda yung assessment mo, and you took that assessment early on, bago ka mag-graduate, ang question is, what will you do to improve your competence,
Yes.
your ability and your competency to make yourself more employable. So alam mo na kung nasan ka. It's like, I'll give my perfect example for this. Weight loss. Walang tinatatamaan dito sa kwartong to. Ang tamaan, thank you. Ganun lang yun. So for example, weight loss. You know what your ideal weight is, you know where you should go. Where are you now? You tip the weighing scale. Oh, my BMI says I'm overweight. So what should you do?
What are your ways to achieve that goal?
Exactly. So you know you have to exercise, you have to diet, you have to CrossFit, whatever, no? Have a healthy lifestyle. So what will it take for you to get from where you are to where you want to be? And that's the same thing in job searches. This is where you want to be. You want to land a job. Where are you now? The assessment will tell you where you are now. So how will you get there? Minsan hindi na to sa school system. Kasi gumraduate ka na eh. So anong gagawin mo para may improve ang sarili mo?
Right.
And this is where your initiative comes in. Dapat may kusa kang improve mo ang sarili mo. Dapat may kusa kang mag-online course. Dapat magkusa kang mag-improve ang communication skills mo. Kahit nabalu-baluktot ang English mo, dapat umpisahan mo na to speak in English and have somebody correct you along the way. Don't be offended if you don't get it right the first time. It's always a learning journey.
Yes, and hindi lang pala for job application yung assessment. So that could also be your stepping stone if ever you wanna identify the things that you wanna improve on yourself. Kahit hindi ka mag-apply, gusto mo lang malaman. So that would be a good way for you to evaluate and assess yourself.
Yes. Assessments, I've always believed in assessments. For those who have known me from the BPO, you know that I came from IBPAT, IT and Business Process Association of the Philippines. And we had an assessment then for students. And because of that assessment, we found out the gap between where the students are, the graduates are, versus what the industry needs. We were able to develop a curriculum in college to help students improve.
Bridge the gap.
To bridge the gap. You will not know what the gap is until you get an assessment.
Okay. So, Miss Penny, we got some questions on our FB. So, if I am scheduled for an interview and I canceled it, will that lessen my chance of being hired?
If you are a no-show, meaning you just suddenly did not show up and the recruiter was waiting for you, yes, you'll get dinged on that. However, if you notify them in advance and request for a reschedule, that doesn't reflect negatively on you. So, give them advance notice, tell them you can't make it, and request for a reschedule. Remember, this is your first date.
Yes.
Can you imagine yung
Hindi ka
kadate mo
nag-show
bigla,
up sa first date?
Wala na, busted ka na. Meron pa bang term na busted na yun?
Meron pa.
Okay, busted ka na. So make sure that as if this were your first date. If you cancel, give advance notice. Be ready to ask for a reschedule. Now, if it's raining and it's flooded in your area, then, giving them 30 minutes notice, I really tried my best, kaya lang baha po dito,
yes,
they will understand.
Yeah, and that also shows your commitment, for example, or your commitment to the interviewer. For example, talaga may emergency naman talaga. Syempre, hindi naman natin maiiwasan. Pero, there's a way for you to show your professionalism.
Yes.
So, we got question again from Sel. That's an interesting question. Can we show that? What's the company, can we ask this kind of question? What's the company's biggest threat to success this year? And how will I be able to help overcome in this role? For example, can we ask those kind of questions to the HR? What's the biggest threat for this year's success of this company?
Wow, lalim ng question.
Yes.
Nothing stops you from asking that question. And I'm sure they will say automation, the technology, the general ones. No? And what's the second half of that question? And
How will I be able to help overcome in this role? Parang he asked a question and then medyo myself, leveraging.
Okay.
Sinabi niya.
Pag sinabi niyang technology, we're doing automation, sagot mo
How can I help?
how can I help? Or, I've done projects in automation before, and I've done change management. That shows your research.
Yes.
That perhaps a company has undergone change management and you're ready to help, to step in. I'll share with you an experience, and I know we did discuss this earlier. 2 days ago, I was at the SSON conference, the summit, the Shared Services Summit, and one of the GMs was talking about design thinking. What is design thinking? Many of us say think outside the box, right? This one is really throw the box away. Think no box. So this company is an automotive company, car company, and they have a service center. And the service center that they did was like a hospital. So when you enter the service center, merong receptionist na nakadress ng doktor.
Okay.
Weird,
Interesting.
no? Tapos, nakadress ng doktor, ipapasok mo yung kotse mo. Dadaling ka sa diagnostic lab. Parang laboratory. Laboratory. Tapos, meron din mga technicians na nakadress ng parang hospital. Because in the hospital, you want to save lives, right? You want to cure patients.
Yes.
Tapos, meron siyang inpatient and meron siyang outpatient. That is how they treat the cars. Wow, di ba? That's how they treat the cars. They treat the cars as if they were real people. Now, if you treat your applicants, if you are an applicant, and the company that you're hiring, that you are recruiting, will really value you as an applicant, will give you a very good applicant experience, but that shows highly of the company. In the previous company, we had a mission for our recruiting team to provide a uniquely positive candidate experience, because you want each candidate to have a unique experience. Now, you as an applicant, you want to provide a good applicant impression.
So there's a company branding and there's a personal branding.
There's a personal branding. What will make you stand out?
Correct. So there are a lot of ways. Syempre, aside from your resume being stand out among other applicants, syempre yourself na rin. And your professionalism shows na talagang you're really committed to that job application. So we got one question. Is it okay to speak Taglish during the interview?
Pag tinanong ka ng English, start in English. And if you're not comfortable with English right away, I still recommend that you start in English, and then you ask permission, you ask approval if you can speak Taglish. Kasi ang nangyayari sa iba, tanong nga sa'yo is English. Ang sagot mo Tagalog.
So parang may imbalance siya.
Imbalance siya. So ask, you say, is it okay for me to speak Taglish?
And I think that also depends on the position. For example, if you're applying for customer service representative, that requires high English communication skills. So I think you'll better be ready for the English communication.
But for exactly, George. But for fresh grads or for students, I highly recommend that you practice speaking English and speaking it well. Not just speaking, writing, reading, and listening. Listening. Because we're
different
communication skills. And it's your logical thinking, how you construct, how you tell a story. And English is our global communication tool.
Right.
Global communication language. I know sa eskwela kasi Taglish pero enhance natin ang ating English communication skills.
Right. So we have one question from Maricar. Can we demand for a higher salary if you have several years of experience but lower yung package nila. So, can we demand for a higher one?
You can always ask, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll give it, but you can always ask. Now, there are standardizations in companies for this particular position. This is their pay range. So you can always ask. I wouldn't say demand, ask, but it's not necessary. It won't necessarily be given. But nothing stops you from negotiating.
Yes.
So negotiate.
If you know your skills or you have assessed your skills and capabilities, so asking won't hurt. Diba?
Yes.
Okay. So, what is another question? What is the best answer when asked by this question? Why shouldn't we hire you? Why shouldn't we hire you?
Or why should we hire you?
Sige, baliktarin natin. Why should we hire you na lang? Ano yung common answers po?
Why should we hire you? What differentiates you from the rest? What will make you stand out from the rest? What is it that you have that the others don't? Communication skills, critical thinking, initiative. Yung initiative, I tell you, can go a long way. Kung may kusang ka to learn as much as you can. Sabihin mo to sa recruiter, I took a Coursera course. I took a Udemy course. Free naman to eh. I took a Coursera course on introduction to personal branding. This is my story. And the first assignment was tweet me. Tweet the professor. Hindi ako marunong mag-tweet. Napilitan akong magtanong sa aking anak. Pwede paki-set up ang Twitter ko? So she set it up. And I asked my daughter, how do I send a tweet to my professor that only she can read? And ang sagot niya, Ma, there's no such thing as private message in Twitter. Everything is public. Oh, really? Okay, so inisip ko kung ano iti-tweet ko. Pero yun, that shows initiative that you are wanting to learn some more. So, ang question ko for fresh grads, are you willing to learn again? After graduation, are you willing to study again? Because
learning never stops.
Learning never stops. The only time you stop learning is when you are 6 feet down under the ground or when you're in ashes. That means pag wala ka na sa mundong ito.
Correct. And it shows your initiative. There are a lot of online courses now, right, Miss Penny? And it shows your interest. Kasi ano yun eh, parang di ba, kung ano yung gusto mo, yun yung isa-search mo. So, if you want to develop your personal branding, go!
Yes.
Maraming courses online.
Marami.
So, if you want to know your strength, may maraming assessment online. So, while there's no excuse now for you to stop learning.
Yes, there's no excuse. We said initiative. We also said critical thinking and communication skills. And aptitude is so important. That's why assessments are very important as well. It helps you determine where you are now.
Yes.
So that you can continue to improve and make sure that you are ready, not just for employability. And we're not saying all of us should be employees. Some of us, we want to have our own businesses. And for us to be able to have our own businesses, we should be able to know what it takes to have a business as well.
Right. So for a question again from Maricar, what is the best answer when you left the company after several years? Is it proximity enough reason? Is the proximity enough reason?
Proximity to the place, the company?
Company.
That means your office is so far away? Oh, yes. With the traffic now, yes. That's why I was saying earlier, write your address. Because if you live so far away from where you are, you plan to work, that may be a question already. Are you willing to travel? There was a time from my house, I live in Manila, near where I teach. I teach at the Lasal College of St. Benil. It takes me from Manila to Makati About 30 minutes. Now it's not 30 minutes anymore, especially with the Skyway being built. So it's proximity now is a reason, one of the reasons why applicants will accept a job offer, or why they will decline a job offer.
Yes, correct. So this is one of the most common questions. What is the greatest challenge for an applicant? Siyempre, there are a lot. Pero ano yung greatest talaga na common na na-encounter for applicants?
How will I get hired? The greatest challenge is really what will make me stand out? What will make me different from the rest? I always say that standing out is so important. Really finding out where you are so that you can further improve in your career. And it's not just for job applicants, it's for life. So really being able to know what it takes to get you to the next step of your life.
Yeah, so going back to the first step of evaluating and assessing yourself to know your strength and other things that you would like to improve on.
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about assessing yourselves, evaluating. So one question that we got is, how and where can I take the assessment?
One of the things, and thank you for asking that, one of the things that I am very proud of, and I have to say this, is I am one of the advisors of Werk.PH, and Werk, WERK.PH, has an online assessment. And the good thing about this online assessment is it's a gamified assessment. Gamified. Okay, for the people in my generation, this may not be the assessments we're looking at. But for the young generations, the millennials, the students, all you need is your phone. Make sure it's smartphone, no matter what your provider is, with Wi-Fi, with strong internet connectivity, and you can take the free assessment of work
For free.
for free. Not a fee, but for free. Free. Libre. No matter where you are in the Philippines, you can take the assessment.
Oh, so kahit nasa province student, okay lang.
Okay lang. And, we've done assessment in the past, in my previous job, and it was proctored, and it had to be on a desktop. No, this one is not anymore.
Pwedeng mobile na.
Mobile na. Ito na, mag-take ka na ng assessment, pero parang naglalaro ng game, kaya nga gamified.
Yes, and what's good about it is, makuha mo yung result real time. So, this assessment will take how many minutes, Ms. Peg?
I think it will take you about 15 minutes.
15 minutes. So, nagpa-Facebook nga tayo, guys, 1 hour. So, ano ba naman yung assessment for 15 minutes, right?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Wow, 10 minutes.
Less pa pala, 10 minutes. Parang ano lang yan, isang nag-status ka lang. Ganon siya kadali.
Oo, lalo na ako, ganon pa hindi kagaya nyo na ganyan. Ako, it will take you fewer minutes since you answer it this way. Now, one of the advice though that I have to give to those who will take the assessment, do it seriously. One thing, do it seriously. It's not a tick in the box. If it's not a requirement in the school, you won't do it. No, please do it because it's free. And secondly, don't do it on a place that you will not be disturbed. I was telling you earlier that I at my age took an assessment, and the advice of the company who was giving me the assessment was, take it when you're rested, have a fresh start, have good sleep, because this assessment will say a lot of things about you.
Yes, in short, be prepared.
Be prepared. Don't do it in the mall while shopping. Naisipan ko, I'll do the assessment.
Yes.
Pupunta ka sa restroom, do the assessment. Do it prepared.
Yeah, and remember, it's a stepping stone to the job that you want. So do it seriously.
Mhm. And if your results are good, include it in your resume. So meron na silang basis to,
Yeah, a supporting document.
supporting document.
Very good.
Lagay mo yun sa first page. Very good assessment based on the assessment from Werk.PH. Please see attached. That's
Right. And also, for example, makuha mo na yung result. For example, nakita mo na magaling ka sa ganitong area. So, highlight it on your resume. And then, nakita mo na medyo mababa ka sa ganitong area. And then, take an online course. Improve on yourself. So, that is the advantage of having an assessment before having a job interview, or even not just for job interview, but just for evaluation of yourself.
Yes, very good.
So what are your thoughts, Miss Penny, on this online assessment?
I would recommend that the students, the graduates, take this assessment, register at Werk.PH. You'll see that in the comment section, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the site is Werk.PH. Look for a job and take an assessment. So it's as simple as that. So register at Werk.PH.
Werk.PH,
Yes.
and then you can just register. I think you can register for less than 3 minutes, and then take the assessment.
Again, for the students and the graduates, this is not mandatory. This will show you if you have initiative. Take this assessment seriously, because it's like your weighing scale. It will tell you where you are now, and it will tell you what will it take, not what will it take, what you need to do to be able to improve in your competencies.
Yeah, it's like going from point A to
point
point B, and those gaps will help you find your strength, your weakness, or the things to improve on through the help of the assessment.
Yes. Those assessments will not tell you what you should take. You should be able to research on what will
Research
it take.
again.
Research again from point A to point B.
Okay, so thanks, Miss Penny, for those tips and insights. But we would like to have a key takeaway first before we end this Facebook Live. So what would you like us to really remember?
Okay, and thank you once again for inviting me here. Several key takeaways that I want our viewers to remember for this interview is really know yourself. Know what you are passionate about. Know what you really want in life. And when you know yourself and what position or what job you want, research on the company. Research on the company, the mission, vision, values of the company. Research on where the company is. So, kung nang itatanong, mamaya itanong mo pa kung saan ba ang opisina mo.
Asking the obvious.
Oo. And make sure that you know the position that you are being interviewed for. Hindi yun any position that I qualify for. No?
Yes.
Be very specific. And when you landed that interview, engage and be able to sell yourself. One comment though, don't oversell. Kasi if you oversell yourself naman and you get hired and you're not really qualified, you might just be damaging yourself and your reputation as well. And that's why it's important to be honest to yourself. Be honest meaning, what are your strengths and what are your areas for improvement. And when you are there in the interview, of course, be courteous and be respectful. That firm handshake is very, very important. Very important because it shows confidence and it shows that you, before I forget, believe in yourself. Remember the mirror exercise. Practice in front of the mirror and make sure that sabihin mo sa sarili mo, kaya ko to.
Build confidence.
Kung nakaya ng iba, kaya mo to. Kung nakaya niya, kaya ko. Kung nakaya ko, kaya mo. Yun ang kulang sa ating mga Pinoy eh. Yung confidence that we can achieve whatever we want to be.
Okay. So before we end, alam ko, Miss Penny, you have a lot of seminars and gusto mo nating i-promote to for you to attain your achievement. Would you like to share to our audience your goal
My goal. Okay, so I wrote a book called Career Shift, Follow Your Passion. Once again, advertising the book. Career Shift, Follow Your Passion, forward by Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield is the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Testimonial by Brother Bo Sanchez of Light of Jesus, The Feast. And I'm not encouraging you to shift careers. I'm just encouraging you to follow your passion. I'm an engineering graduate, finished 2 engineering courses, finished my MBA in 29 years. We were talking about that. 29 years, don't ask me, it's in my book. However, I found my passion in HR, and I love what I'm doing. I love being able to help people to get from point A to point B, helping you get from where you are to where you want to be. I have a goal of reaching, and my hashtag now is hashtag journey to 100,000 Filipino lives, which means I want Filipinos to dream big, to dream bigger. We Filipinos, as Dado Banato said, we Filipinos have experienced failure. It's time we experience success. And what does success look like? We can see success from afar. The question is, how do we get there? How do we get to our destination? And it begins with knowing where you are now. And for graduates and for students, where you are now is take an assessment.
Yes.
Take this work assessment. So visit Werk.PH and take the assessment for you to know where you are now so that it can take you to where you want to be.
Yes, so that's Werk.PH. It could be accessed through your desktop, mobile phone, and then just register and take the assessment.
Yes.
All right. So again, thank you, Miss Penny, for having us. It is such an inspiration to share your experience and your tips to our graduates and to other professionals out there.
Before we close, I forgot. I have a workshop on September 15. Please visit my Facebook page, Penny Bongato Success and HR Mentor, or my personal page. Maybe you can write it there. I have it tagged on this live interview. I have a workshop on September 15 from 1 to 5 p.m. at KMC at Taguig. And it is the power of visualization, a vision board workshop. It's exactly what we're talking about. What are our dreams? Where do we want to be? We're starting with the goals first.
Point E.
From point A to point B. Start with point B. In this workshop, we start with point B. Where do you want to be? And where are you now? And how do we go through that path? Assessments are so critical for us to be able to get from point A to point B.
All right. Thanks again, Miss Penny. And thanks, Werk.PH, for having us, Miss Penny and I. It was truly a privilege to share with you the tips and insights from Miss Penny Bongato. Thank you, Werk.PH, and till the next FB Live.
Thank you very much.